بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك وعلى آلك المظلومين المشردين عن الأوطان صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله يا غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. For the love of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, please recite the last salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Tonight is the night of the 8th of Rabil'al. This is the night of the martyrdom of our 11th Imam, Imam Hasan Askari, salamullahi alayhi.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali
Who
Muhammad.
is the father of the Imam of our time, the father of our Savior, the father of the awaited Imam, Imam al-Mahdi al-Muntadhar. May Allah hasten his reappearance and grant us the tawfiq to be amongst his supporters and helpers with the blessings of Allah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali
It
Muhammad.
is a great tawfiq for all of us to be participating in the majalis where we remember our masters, the Ahlul Bayt salamullahi alayhim. And in these holy nights, which are very difficult for the heart of our Imam, Imam Sahib al-Asli wa Zaman, where in such a night he remembers how his father has passed away, how his father was poisoned, and how he was feeling and sick because of the poison that was given to him by the enemies, by the Abbasid Caliph at that time. But these majalis are also a good time to reflect upon the words of wisdom of the personality who we are commemorating tonight. This is a good time to reflect upon their words and try to derive a few lessons from it, so that we can be able to apply it in our day-to-day life. For the words of Ahlul Bayt are the light of guidance for us. The words of Ahlul Bayt guide us towards the truth. And by learning a few lessons from each hadith that we read and reflect on, inshallah we'll be able to apply it and start walking on the path of Ahlul Bayt salamullahi alayhim. It is narrated that our 11th Imam, Imam Hasan Askari, salamullahi alayhi, that he said, بئس العبد عبد يكون ذا وجهين وذا لسانين. The worst servant of Allah is the one who is two-faced and two-tongued. يطري أخاه شاهدا ويأكله غائبا. He praises his present friends while he backbites them when they are absent. When his friends are present, he praises them and talks to them in a very nice way. However, when they're absent, he backbites them. إن أعطي حسده وإن ابتلي خذله. When this friend of his gets some graces from Allah or is blessed with some sustenance, some bounty, some mercy from Allah, he envies him. And when this friend of his falls into misfortunes, he tends to leave them alone and disappoints them. The Imam says this is the worst servant of Allah. So in this hadith, our 11th Imam is trying to point towards two important spiritual diseases that are prevailing in most of the communities around the world. These two spiritual diseases greatly harm the soul, greatly harm the ruh, the nafs of the insan. It also brings harm to our community, and it brings disunity amongst the community. It breaks the bonds of brotherhood and sisterhood between the brothers and sisters in faith. It also makes you lose many great or good people as friends. And also it affects and it cuts many relations. And cutting the relations with a family member, with a rahim, is a greater sin. Cutting a relation with a mu'min can also be a reason for the wrath of Allah to descend. These two spiritual diseases that Imam Askari salamullahi alayhi pointed in this short word of wisdom is the disease of ghiba and the disease of hasad, the disease of backbiting and the disease of envy, gossiping and being envy. So let's start talking about the first spiritual disease, the disease of ghiba. Ghiba is from the worst type of spiritual sickness, the worst type of spiritual ailments that has afflicted many communities, caused many problems, many conflicts, many troubles, many relationships have been cut, many families have been torn apart, all because of one major sin. This is the sin of ghiba. And this sin is also related to another type of spiritual disease, which is buhtan. There is ghiba and there is buhtan. Ghiba, backbiting, is when you talk badly about your brother or your sister in faith behind their back. But what you're saying is the truth. Let's say that I have a sin, or I have committed a sin that no one knows about except you. When you tell others behind my back and you inform the world about it, this is considered ghiba. Buhtan is even worse. Buhtan is when you tell bad things about someone behind their back, and this thing is not even true. The person doesn't have that sin, or doesn't have that wrongdoing, or doesn't have that bad habit, and you claim that this person has it. Ghiba and buhtan. Both of them are done behind someone's back. But one of them is, it's a true thing. The other one is something that is actually false. So ghiba, which is the lower level, which is something that is true, not lying, this is considered a major sin. This is considered a major sin that one deserves the wrath of Allah for committing it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Hujurat, ayah 12, وَلَا يَغْتَبْ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا. Don't let some of you backbite the other. This surah, or this verse, came down after an incident happened between some of the companions. They asked Salman al-Muhammadi, Salman al-Farisi, to go get them some food from the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. So Salman al-Muhammadi, he went to the Prophet and he took his permission. The Holy Prophet told him to go to Usama ibn Zayd, and ask him for food or the equivalent money to go buy food. Because Usama ibn Zayd was the one who is responsible for Baytul Mal, the public treasury, at that time. And you know, the leader is the Prophet, but he appointed Usama at that time to be responsible for Baytul Mal. So Salman al-Muhammadi went to Usama ibn Zayd and asked him that, you know, my companions are in need of some food. If you have anything that can, you know, help us. Can you help us out? Usama said, currently I do not have anything that I can give you. At the moment, I have nothing. So Salman al-Muhammadi returned to his companions empty-handed. When he left, later on, those companions, they started making fun of Salman al-Muhammadi and Usama ibn Zayd. They started gossiping about Salman and about Usama ibn Zayd. And they also branded them, maybe it's even buhtan, not even ghiba. They branded them with being close-fisted misers. Not just a miser, but a miser of the highest level. Close-fisted miser, that they don't want to give money to those who are needy. Those companions, later on, when they went to meet the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the Prophet told them, I see particles of flesh in your teeth. I see particles of flesh in your teeth. They said, Ya Rasulullah, we haven't eaten meat today. We were the ones who asked for help, for some food. So we didn't eat meat today. What flesh are you seeing in our teeth? Rasulullah said, yes, you ate the flesh of Salman and Usama. Then this verse was revealed to the Holy Prophet. Verse 12 of Surah Al-Hujurat. وَلَا يَغْتَبْ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا أَيُحِبُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَن يَأْكُلَ لَحْمَ أَخِيهِ مَيْتًا فَكَرِهْتُمُوهُ. Don't let some of you backbite the others. Does one of you like to eat the flesh of his dead brother? But you all have hated it. You all hate it. So look at how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pictured ghiba. Now, I would never ever think of eating a dead flesh. Not talking about my brother's dead flesh. Just a dead flesh, I wouldn't even go near it. The Prophet or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that ghiba is equal to eating your dead brother's flesh. This is how big of a sin it is. This is how major of a crime it is. These are a few words. To us, sometimes we're like, it's just a few words. It's just a little joke. You know, what should we talk? We're sitting, we're having a gathering, and we have nothing to say. You know, it's just, few words. But these few words are like poison. These few words are poison. Worse than poison. Poison kills one person. But ghiba can create a rift within communities, within societies. Can break many houses, can demolish many homes, many families. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that ghiba is equal to eating your dead brother's flesh. If one looks at it in this manner, would he ever commit a ghiba, backbiting, gossip? Sometimes we ask this question, and just a side note. One might ask, how is an imam ma'soom? How is it possible that one doesn't sin all his life? Or how is a prophet ma'soom? Same question. The answer is this. Would you ever think of eating, for example, a dead brother's flesh? Would it even come to your mind? That, let me give it a try? Never. The ma'soom looks at sin in this manner. It's not that the ma'soom doesn't have the ability. The ma'soom has the ability, but he chose not to. He chose not to disobey. Because he looks at sin. He looks at all types of sin. Because he doesn't look at the sin, he looks at who he is disobeying. He's disobeying the master of the masters, the Lord of the worlds. So he looks at every sin in this way. That bad. So when one looks at every single sin from this angle, would never ever think of even committing a sin. Because there are many sins that we are also immune from it. Like eating a dead brother's flesh. None of us even comes to their mind to even give it a try. It doesn't even come to the mind. We're immune from it. If we look at every single sin in this manner, Would we ever disobey the Lord? This is how the Ma'soom looks at sinning. That's why once a man came to Imam al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi and told him that I cannot stop sinning. What should I do? The Imam told him, I have a solution for you. If you can do it, then you can sin as much as you want. Free way from the Imam. So he told him, what can I do? Then I can sin whatever I want. He told him, first of all, don't eat from the sustenance that Allah sends down to you. Go find food from somewhere else. The man looked and he said, everything in this world is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where would I go? Even my mouth and my hand and my ability to reflect and think, and even my stomach and my digestive system and so on, all this is a blessing of Allah. Where would I go? He told him, okay, if you cannot do that, let's go to another step. What's the other step? Ya Aba Abdullah. He's like, go find a place that Allah does not own and go sin as much as you want. End. So he told him, where would I go, O Master? Everywhere is owned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He told him, okay, I have a third option for you. What's the third option? He's like, if the angel of death comes to you, push him away. If you don't die, you will not get punished. So whenever he comes to you, push him away. The man told him, this is even harder than the previous other choices. How can I push the angel of death away? I don't have the power to do so. I'm weaker than that. He told him, then when you are in the day of judgment, and the angels of hellfire, they're taking you to throw you in the hellfire, push them away and go run to heaven. He told him, this is also impossible. The Imam is telling him that we have the option. We have the willpower. We have the choice. We can choose to do good. And they are role models for us. Allah sent down 124,000 prophets as role models. Allah sent down imams and masumeen as role models for us. They are human beings who were able to live a purified life, a life of purity, a life where they would be in complete obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They chose that and they were able to do it. And Islam is a practical religion. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah would not test you or ask you to do something if you are incapable of doing it, if you are not able to do it. The test that Allah gives is a test that you are able to accomplish. It might be a bit hard, but you're able to accomplish. It's within your ability, within your capability. So this is something that's important to keep in mind. Look at sin in this perspective, the perspective that the Quran has pictured for us. Ghiba equals to eating your dead brother's flesh. Can you do that? No. Then why can't you do ghiba? We should equate between them. And when we equate between them, we can slowly take away that disease from our community. صلى على محمد وآل محمد. Another hadith by Imam Askari salamullahi alayhi with regards to this matter. He says, اعلموا أن غيبتكم لأخيكم المؤمن من شيعة آل محمد عليهم السلام أعظم في التحريم من الميتة. Know that ghiba of your believing brother, who is the Shia of Ali Muhammad, is worse than eating dead meat. Regarding which Allah says, then the Imam read this ayah, وَلَا يَغْتَبْ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا. Don't let some of you backbite the others. Now, we know the punishment or the consequences for eating haram meat. There is a hadith by the Holy Prophet ﷺ that says that if someone eats haram meat, Allah will not accept his salah for 40 nights. And his dua will not be accepted for 40 days. And every flesh that grows from this haram meat is to be put in hellfire. It is to be put in hellfire. Every single flesh that grows from this haram meat deserves to be burnt in hellfire. That is the consequence for eating haram meat. Imam Askari is saying what? Ghiba of especially the Shia of Ali Muhammad, our brothers and sisters, is worse than eating haram meat. In another hadith, the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, "Man ightaba musliman aw muslima lam yaqbal Allah salatahu wa la siyamahu 40 yawman wa layla illa an yaghfira lahu sahib." One who backbites, one who gossips, a male or female Muslim, Allah will neither accept his prayers nor his fast for 40 days and nights until the one who was backbitten, the one who we gossiped on, forgives. If he forgives, then Allah will also forgive. Imam Askari is saying backbiting is worse. Backbiting is worse than eating haram meat. Truly, backbiting is worse. One of the effects of backbiting is that automatically when one backbites, the good deeds, let's say I backbite, the good deeds that I have will automatically be transferred to the one who I've backbitten, who I've gossiped on. And his bad deeds will be transferred to me. His bad deeds will be transferred to me. It's worse than eating haram meat. Haram meat, I hold all the consequences. Backbiting, I'm getting sins that I didn't commit, the sins of the other person. And the good deeds that I have, the few that I have, is also transferred automatically to them. It's an automatic transfer. Every backbite, it's an automatic transfer. Good deeds go to the other person, bad deeds will come to me.
Subhanallah.
Shaykh al-Bahai, who is one of our great scholars, who passed away about 400 years ago. He was a great scholar, philosopher, poet, mathematician, and astronomer, who was there at that time and is currently buried in the holy shrine of Imam Ali ibn Musa Rida, salamullahi alayhi. He says that once I was in a prominent gathering, and then I left. In my absence, somehow the topic of the gathering became me. So they started backbiting me, gossiping, talking about me. Later on, when one of them figured out that I knew that there was such a gathering, and they talked badly about me. That brother, he sent me a long letter, asking for forgiveness, and that, I didn't mean to, I was heedless of Allah's words, I didn't pay attention, I made a mistake. Shaykh al-Bahai, he responds. And the response of Shaykh al-Bahai is something that is really nice to be aware, because he mentioned the hadith of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said in the beginning, he thanked him in the letter. He told him, "May Allah reward you for the gift you sent me." What is that gift? The gift is that you have given me all your hasanat, all your good deeds, and I've given you all my bad. What better gift can I have? Giving me good hasanat and carrying my burden instead of me.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
Then he mentioned the hadith of Rasulullah. He said, on the day of judgment, a person shall be brought forth for the reckoning of his deeds, to be questioned for his deeds. His good deeds shall be placed in one pan of the balance, and his bad deeds will be placed on another pan of the balance. Then he would observe that his bad deeds are heavier. So the balance is going towards the bad deeds, not the good deeds. Then all of a sudden an angel of Allah comes and he puts a sheet of paper on the side of the good deeds, and all of a sudden the good deeds become heavier than the bad deeds. This is the hadith of Rasulullah, I'm paraphrasing it. Then this person will be astonished, will be wondering. He says, "Oh Lord, all these good deeds that made my scale heavier, my good side heavier, I haven't committed. I've never done it. I wasn't that good. You know, where did all these hasanat come from?" Then Allah would inform him, this is an exchange for all the evil that were spoken about you when you were absent. All the evils that were spoken about you when you were absent. Other people, they did ghiba on you, and this is their good deeds that they've performed, which made your scale heavier. So Shaykh al-Bahai thanked him again after writing this hadith. He thanked him again for the gift. Then he told him, I'm going to do something which I get more thawab for, more reward for. He said, although you have acted in a manner that is bad, and the reward is already good because Allah has promised it, Rasulullah has said it, and He is the honest, the trustworthy. But Rasulullah also said, forgiveness will be more rewarding. So he said that I will forgive you, I will pardon you, I will respect that friendship that we have, and I will overlook that ghiba that you have done. Now look at the reward. The reward is the exchange. But for forgiving, Allah gives you an extra reward. Yes, you save your brother from that burden, but at the same time the burden doesn't come back to you. Allah is all merciful. The burden is gone, but you get an extra reward for acting kindly toward your brother or sister. So yes, ghiba does transfer, but forgiving the one who backbit, forgiving the one who gossiped, you will get more and more rewards for that. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
The other point that the Imam was mentioning, the other spiritual disease that he mentioned in the hadith that I started the majlis with, is the disease of hasad, the disease of envy, being envious. Envy stems from the blindness of the heart and the rejection of Allah's grace. Envy stems from two evil deeds or evil thoughts. Rejection of Allah's grace and blindness of the heart. Both of these deeds are, as ulama call them, wings of kufr, wings of disbelief. Rejection of Allah's grace and blindness of the heart. Envy usually stems from these two major sins. An envious person afflicts himself, hurts himself before hurting the other. Look at the example of Iblis. Iblis worshipped Allah for thousands of years. He's a jinn, but he reached to the position of the angels because of his worship. Allah ordered him to bow down to Adam. What happened? He envied the position of Adam. He had hasad. So he became arrogant. Look at now where envy is taking him. First of all, he rejected Allah's command. He had hasad, envy. It took him to what? Arrogance and being proud, disobeying Allah's order. What happened? He was eternally cursed, while Adam, who was being envied by Satan, what happened to him? He got the rank of prophethood. ثُمَّ اجْتَبَاهُ. Allah has chosen him. So envy hits the one who is being envious before it hits the other person. The example of Qabil and Habil is also clear. Qabil was envious of Habil because the slaughter of Habil was accepted by Allah, while the sacrifice of Habil was accepted, while the sacrifice of Qabil was not. So Qabil killed Habil because of the envy that he had. He was eternally punished, while Habil was eternally in paradise, eternally in Jannah. Enmity and envy are the strongest incentives for backbiting. subhanallah, all these sins, they lead one to the other. One leads to the other. Envy, hasad, leads to backbiting. Imam Sadiq, salamullahi alayhi wa sallam, he says, stay away from jealousy and do not harbor envy with respect to one another. Then the Imam told us the parable of Prophet Isa and his companion. He said that one of the practices of Prophet Isa, salamullahi alayhi, was that he used to travel around towns. He used to travel around the land. And he used to travel from city to city. One day, one of his companions, he was a short companion. His height was not long, not tall, was short. He accompanied him. Prophet Isa took him with him. They reached to a river. Prophet Isa said, Bismillah, in the name of Allah, and he started walking on water. This companion looked at Prophet Isa. He said, Bismillah, in the name of Allah. He also started walking on water. In the middle of the way, that man looked at himself. He's like, I've reached to the position of Prophet Isa. Oh, I've become so high now. I'm walking on water and he's walking on water. Immediately when this thought came to his mind, he was about to drown. Immediately the effect went. Prophet Isa, salamullah alayhi, he saved him. And he told him, what is the thought that came into your mind? What happened? Were you envious of my position? Did you become conceit? Did you have ujub in your heart? You think that you've reached somewhere because you're walking on water? The man told him, I thought about that. Prophet Isa told him, you placed yourself in a position other than what Allah has ordained you. You tried to go to a position that Allah did not place you in. You do not deserve to be there yet. So you became the object of Allah's wrath. If I wasn't around and my rahmah didn't reach, because Prophet Isa again is a representation of Allah's mercy. If he wasn't there, then he would have drowned. So Prophet Isa saved him. He said, you became the object of his wrath. So seek forgiveness. Do istighfar so that you can regain your previous rank once again. As soon as the companion asked Allah for forgiveness, he began to follow Isa in the water once again. After narrating this incident, our Imam Sadiq salamullahi alayhi, he said, fear Allah and avoid jealousy. Then the Imam said, إِنَّ الْمُؤْمِنَ يَغْبِطْ وَلَا يَحْسِدْ. A true believer exalts but never envies. What's the difference between exalt, ghibta, and hasad, envy? Hasad is basically wishing whatever, let's say Allah provides someone with a lot of positions, a lot of wealth, a lot of benefits, a lot of favors, and I get to see all these. Hasad means that I would wish that Allah takes all these bounties from that servant and gives it to me. So take away the bounty and gives it to me. I look at it from a low perspective, from a bad perspective. Ghibta is the opposite. I look at the bounties that Allah has favored my brother or my sister. And I wish that these bounties would remain. And Allah would give them even more. But also Allah to give me the same. So I don't want, in my heart, I don't want these favors to go away from my brother. I want these favors to remain and to stay. But I also want something similar. Just as Allah showered him with all these blessings, I also want all these blessings. See the difference between ghibta and hasad. Imam Sadiq says, mu'min, they exalt. A true believer exalts. He considers ghibta. He doesn't look badly at another person's favor. Yes, he prays to Allah that He showers him with the same favors, but he wishes that these favors remain with the other side. But hasad, envy, is the complete opposite. Wishing that the ni'mah goes away and comes to him. This is the main difference between ghibta and hasad. Imam Sadiq said, mu'min should practice ghibta, not hasad. Ghibta, not hasad.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
So these are a few thoughts or ideas that we can reflect, we can use to reflect when we look at the ahadith of Imam Hasan Askari salamullahi alayhi, and we ask Allah by the right of Imam Askari to grant us the tawfiq to get rid, if any one of us has that ghiba or that disease of ghiba in the heart or the disease of envy in the heart, that will be able by the blessing of Imam Askari to get rid of these two spiritual diseases and to better ourselves and to be bettering our communities at the same time. Tonight again is the night of the 8th of Rabil'al Awwal. This night is very difficult for the heart of our Imam, Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. Let's travel with our hearts to the last moments of Imam Hasan Askari. Let's travel with our hearts to Samarra, to the Imam's house, Imam al-Askari's house. When Imam al-Askari salamullahi alayhi was given poison by the evil and cruel Abbasid rulers, then at that time they freed him. They let him go back to his house. He was in prison and in jail. Imam al-Askari, the period of his imamate was only 6 years. Only 6 years. Imam al-Hadi was martyred when Imam al-Askari was 22 years old, and Imam al-Askari was martyred when he was 28 years old. A young man, this great Imam. 6 years, and he spent it mostly in the prisons of the Abbasid rulers. When the evil rulers fed him the poison, then they freed him to go back to his house. Before he departed this world, he sent a servant of his by the name of Awwal to a city close to Baghdad, a city by the name of Madain. Our holy Imam was in Samarra. He ordered Awwal to take certain letters to some people in Madain. They will reply by writing and give it to you. When they give it to you, bring it back to me. This trip will take you 15 days, going and coming. When you enter Samarra on the 15th day, you will hear people crying for me. You will hear people weeping for me. Because on the 15th day I would have gone, I would have passed away, I would have departed this world. You will enter my house and you would find my body lying down. Awwal asked, he's like, what should I do when this happens, Yabna Rasulullah? To whom would the imamate be after you? The Imam said, you will follow the one who will ask you about the letters, for he is the Imam after me. Awwal said, can you give me another sign? The Imam said, the one who will pray over my dead body is the Imam after me. Awwal asked for a third sign. He said, the one who will say what is in the belt, what is in the wallet is the Imam after me. The servant said that I did not ask the Imam about the belt and what's in it because of the status and honor of the Imam, so I kept quiet. So the three signs were mentioned by the Imam to lead the followers to Imam al-Mahdi salamullahi alayhi. The servant went and he came back and he said, just as the Imam has said, he saw the Imam's body. He was given poison. All the city was crying, Wa Imama, Wa Sayyida. The Abbasids at that time increased the guards around our Imam. They brought some doctors to cover up their crime, so that people will say so they can say to people that we're monitoring and taking care of the Imam. However, the reason for all these guards is that they're looking for the last Imam. They know that the Imams of Ahlul Bayt are 12. And the 11th Imam is Imam Al-Askari. The last Imam is Imam Sahib Al-Asri wa Zaman. And they know that he will come for his father. So they increase the guards around the house. They increase the guards even inside the house. Because they were looking for the Imam. Imam al-Mahdi is the inheritor of this earth. They even sent female guards to inspect the woman, to ensure that there is no pregnant woman in the house of the Imam. Now the Imam lived in house arrest under tight security by the Abbasid government. Brothers and sisters, when a person wants to die, when a person is about to die, he wants to see his family around him. He wants to see his loved ones around him, his children standing by next to him, bidding farewell to him. These are the last moments in one's world. However, our oppressed Imam had all those prison guards and the government following him, standing all around him. He had no access to his own family members. Rather, he had to worry about his wives. He had to worry about his women who are being inspected by the female guards that were sent. The Imam had to go through all of this so that I and you can pray and have good manners and good akhlaq, so that I and you can be good Shias and good followers of Ahlul Bayt Salamullahi alayhim. Isn't it time to change? Isn't it time to take their words of wisdom seriously and start applying it in our day-to-day life? Our holy Imam left this dunya. He left this world all alone. He was ghareeb insa marra. Abu al-Adyan continues to say, he said, I saw Jaffri al-Kadhab, the brother of Imam al-Askari, salamullahi alayhi, who was condoled by people. So I also condoled him. He did not ask me about anything. He did not ask me about any of the signs that the Imam has told me. Meanwhile, Aqid, a servant of the Imam, came to Ja'far al-Kadhab. He asked him to lead the Salah. Ja'far al-Kadhab and many of the Shias entered the house of the Imam to pray on him. Just as he was about to pray, he said that I saw a young boy, about 5 years of age, entering and standing next to Ja'far. His face was so bright, it filled the whole house with nur. He said, that young boy said, تأخر يا عم فأنا أحق بالصلاة على أبي. Step aside, oh uncle, for I have more right to pray over the body of my father. Ja'far's face turned pale and yellow. He could not even argue because of the haiba of the Imam, the status, the honor of the Imam. Although he was 5 years of age, he was only 5 years old, yet he had the respect and the honor of the Imam. The Imam prayed the Salah over his father. He buried his father in Samarra. Then he turned to Abu al-Adyan. He asked him for the letters. Abu al-Adyan said that I gave him the letters. I said in my heart, 2 of these signs have been met. Only one is left. He was the one who prayed over his father. He was the one who asked me for the letter, but he didn't ask me for the belt yet. As we were sitting down, a group of visitors coming from the city of Qom, they entered and asked, who do we condole? Who should we say azah to? Is it to his son, to the uncle, to the father? They don't know who the Imam is. People pointed to Ja'far. So they went and said to him that we have some letters, we have some money with us, but before you give it to us, if you truly claim to be the Imam, then tell us from who are these letters and how much money is in the belt. Ja'far got upset and he said, do you want me to know the ghaib? Do you want me to know the unseen? A servant came out from inside from a room inside, and he said, the master, the Mawla, meaning Imam Zaman, said to me that the letters are from such and such people, and you have 1,000 dinars in this belt. They gave him the belt. The servant said that the 3 signs were fulfilled. This is my Imam. This is the Imam of our time. On this day, he must be in deep grief for the loss of his father, because he remembers all those incidents. He saw all of this, brothers and sisters. But I turn towards our Imam. I turn toward Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. Forgive me, O Master, but I want to say to you, O Master, you have come to the body of your father. You have prayed over him. You have buried him. But who was there on the day of Ashura? Who was there for your grandfather, Imam al-Hussein, when he was laying on the burning sands of Karbala? When Shimr was on his chest, Sayyida Zainab stood there looking at the body of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein, a body without a head, a body that is covered with spears and arrows, a body that is cut into pieces, his face is smeared with blood. And then she saw the tribe of Al-Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi. They came to Umar ibn Sa'd. They told him, we want our man. We don't want you to cut his head. We don't want you to touch him. We are going to carry him and bury him. Sayyida Zainab saw the tribe of Al-Hurr respectfully carrying the body of Al-Hurr and burying him respectfully, while looking at the body of Aba Abdullah laying on the sands of Karbala. At that moment she turns towards Medina. She said, Assalamu alayka ya Jadda. Assalamu alayka ya Rasul Allah. Hada Husaynuka fil Ara. This is your Hussein on the plains of Karbala. Doesn't your son have a family to look after him? Doesn't your son have a family to bury him? Isn't there anyone to look after his children? Then she turned to Najaf. She turned to her father, Amir al-Mu'mineen, and said, Wa Aliyah, wa Abata. ابنتك زينب غريبة في كربلاء. This is your daughter Zainab. This is your daughter Zainab, a stranger in Karbala, all alone in Karbala, with no helper and no supporter. What is your Abbas, O Zainab? What is your Abbas? What is your supporter, O Zainab? He is lying there next to the Euphrates River, with no right or no left arm, with an arrow in his eye, and his head is lifted high on the spears. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل بيت رسول الله أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين.